Hey guys, it's me Chiku from Chiku Study Corner, and today we'll be dealing with a new chapter of biology, that is microbes and human welfare. So, let's get started. The first thing that we have to discuss is about microbes. What are microbes? They are tiny organisms that we cannot see with our naked eyes. So these microbes, where all are they present? Actually, these microbes are inside our body, inside our room, air, the soil, water, etc. Microbes are everywhere. Even in extreme conditions, even inside the volcanoes, under the sea, and maybe inside the eyes, everywhere microbes are present. So, these microbes are termed as omnipresent. Why is microbes called as omnipresent? Why are they omnipresent? Because they live everywhere. You can find them everywhere. Okay? These microbes can be both helpful and harmful. We know that, no? We discussed about human health in the previous chapter. Yeah? We discussed about what the diseases caused by these microbes and other organisms. So, what they are both good and bad. Then what are the examples? Protozoa, fungi, virus, bacteria, etc. There are a lot more. Okay, this is an example. So, in this lesson, what is this microbes and human welfare? We are discussing only about the positive characters of microbes. In the chapter Human Health, what did we do? We discussed about the negative sides. What are the disease caused by microbes? Now we will see the positive side. Okay. So, we have many places where these microbes helps us in our day-to-day lives. First, let's start from the very basic. That is from our homes. So, the first thing is what? In households. How microbes helps in households. So, the first bacteria or first thing that we have to discuss is about lab. What is lab? Lab is lactic acid bacteria. Have you heard of lactic acid somewhere? We did learn about lactic acids when we learned about these food and stuff. We learned where this lactic acid is. That's inside curd. So, this lab is commonly called as lactic acid bacteria. The actual name is Lactobacillus. Okay, this is its actual name. Now, now we have to learn about two terms. Okay, before that, how do you make curd? You take a freshly prepared milk and you introduce lactobacillus into it. When you introduce lactobacillus, what happens? It will what will it do? It will coagulate the milk and it will partially digest the milk proteins, and then that is how curd is formed. So, have you seen your parents making curd at home? What do? They take milk and they add some a small quantity of curd into it, prepared curd, and then what happens? You keep it aside for maybe 8 hours or 10 hours or 12 hours. After that you get the curd. Yeah, how is that? Because that amount of curd introduced have millions and trillions of what? Lactobacillus. So this amount of curd added for the process of formation is known as starter. Okay? Or inoculum. Okay, inoculum. What is this? Starter or inoculum. So, you have seen, now we know how the curd is formed. Now, let's see what is the advantages of lactobacillus. So, let's see the advantages. So, the first advantage is they increase what? The nutritional value of the food. So, increase in nutritional value. by adding what? Vitamin B12. Okay? So this is the first point. The second one is, in our stomachs, lab checks on the harmful organisms or microbes. So this is the first thing that we have to learn. The second, that is the first, we discussed about lactobacillus. The second one is about dough. We always use dough, no? So let's see, what is it? So the first thing that we have to learn under dough is the dough for idli and dosa. What is happening there? Over here also fermentation is taking place. Okay? After fermentation, this fermentation is done by a bacteria. Okay? That produces excess CO2 and it looks fluffy. So there's questions coming, why does dough of idli and dosa looks fluffy? That is because of the production of carbon dioxide. Okay, the next one is in baking of bread. Okay, something known as baker's yeast is used. What is that? Baker's yeast. Its scientific name, I write the scientific name. The scientific name is Saccharomyces cerevisiae. So this is the name of the yeast used in the making of the dough of bread. Okay. Now we have to discuss about the next one, that is toddy. Toddy is, how was it obtained? By fermentation of what? The sap of palm trees. Okay. The next one that we have to learn is what? The fermented fishes, the soya bean, etc. These are used for as food. Okay. So the next one is fermented fish, soya bean, etc. The next one we have to learn. First we learned about what? Lactobacillus, then about dough, then about toddy and fermented foods. The last one that we have to learn is about cheeses. Okay. So over here we will be dealing about two kinds of cheeses. That is, first one is Swiss cheese. Okay. The second one is Roquefort cheese. So Swiss cheese. Have you seen Swiss cheese? Obviously we have all watched Tom and Jerry in our childhoods. Have you seen a cheese that is eaten by our Jerry always? Something that has big holes in it? That is what is Swiss cheese. So Swiss cheese, what is its specialty? Large holes. Why is there a large hole? That is because of the presence of CO2, excess production of CO2. This is produced by a bacteria. The bacteria is called as Propionibacterium shermani. Okay, so this is to talk about Swiss cheese. The next one is Roquefort cheese. This Roquefort cheese has a special flavor. What does this, how is this special flavor? That is because a particular type of fungi is allowed to grow on this cheese, which gives it this amazing flavor. So what is that? Fungi is grown on it, which gives it the flavor. Okay. So the next one that we have to learn is the microbes in you a term known as fermenter. So what is fermenters? These are, okay, I told you we ferment the dough, we ferment everything. We do it in a small scale, in a very small scale that it is done at home. So for industrial requirements, we need a large amount. So that there should be a large vessel. Those kind of large vessels that's used for fermentation in industries for large scale purposes are called as fermenters. Okay, so large, what do you say, maybe beakers or vessels used to what? Ferment in a very large scale. Okay, that is what is fermenters. Next, we have to learn about fermented beverages. That is the first thing that is coming under microbes in industrial production. So the first one is what? Fermented beverages. So, there are so many fermented beverages that comes under the alcoholic categories. So, yeast is used in the production of what all? Whiskey, brandy, rum, beer, etc. So, over here, baker's yeast, the yeast which we learned for the, the making of dough of bread, that is being used for the fermentation of these things. Okay? So, next we have to use what? Next thing that you have to learn is, what does this yeast do? The yeast behaves as a fermenting agent. For what all? Cereals and fruit juices to produce ethanol. We know what is ethanol. Ethanol is alcohol. So what is it? These yeasts act as what? They are used as fermenting agents for the production of what? The alcoholic drinks from cereals and fruit. Fermenting agent of drinks from cereals and fruits, okay, to produce ethanol. Yeah, so that is what is that comes under fermented beverages. So now we have two categories based upon the substance used. What is it? Fruit or cereal or malt, etc. It is divided. Also, it's divided on the basis of whether it's distillated or non-distillated. Okay, so let's see. We learned about some beverages. No, we'll write their names one by one. Wine, beer, whiskey, brandy, rum. Yeah, these are some examples. So, these two, no, wine and beer, they are not distillated. Okay, not distillated. Whereas these three are distillated. So, that is the talk about fermented beverages. Now we have to move to the second industrial application of microbes. That is the production of antibiotics. The production of antibiotics is a very significant role in the 20th century because it is one of the best, or it is one of the most significant discoveries of the 20th century, which has helped human life to move on. Yeah, these microbes itself cause diseases, and some of them can be the treatment, because we learned about vaccines. What is vaccines? They are the same microbes that are introduced to our body so that our body produce antigens. So let's see. told is antibiotics. So I told it's the most significant discovery, and therefore it has caused caused a huge increase in the economy of our country, because the death rates are low, healthy people are more, so that there is more national income. Okay, that is one help of antibiotics. So let's discuss about the word antibiotics. Anti, what do you mean by anti? That means against, and bio means life. In which language does this anti means against and bio means life? Greek. So the root word of antibodies is from the language Greek. Okay, and these antibiotics, what happens, not antibodies, sorry, antibiotics, they, if you attach these terms together, what would be that? That is, antibiotic means against life. But this is only in the concept for what? These microbes, these disease causing organisms. But in case of human beings, it is pro-life, it's life-giving, it's life-saving. It's not life-giving, it's life-saving. Okay? So antibiotics is a very important discovery. The first antibiotic that was discovered was penicillin. Okay? So let's write. This was discovered by who? Alexander Fleming. So this penicillin was not, discovered on purpose. He didn't want to discover penicillin, but he was working on something else, and the outcome was the discovery of penicillin. Such a discovery is called as serendipity. Okay? What is it? Serendipity. So, now we are learning about penicillin. Let's discuss the story behind it. Once, Alexander Fleming was working on Staphylococcus, okay, and then he left his plates over there, his experimental plates, and he went. When he came back, he noticed that in the unwashed plates there was some mold growing on it, okay, some kind of fungus, which didn't allow the Staphylococci to furthermore grow around it. So he discovered that there is some chemicals produced by this kind of fungi that prevents the growth of staphylococci. So what did he find out? There is some things that can be produced by the microbes which are harmful for other microbes. Okay, so that was his discovery. There was a story behind the discovery of penicillin. So this kind of produced penicillin was actually, sometimes it can be allergic. So this fully efficient penicillin was discovered by two people. So their names are Howard Florey and Ernest. Okay, they extensively used this penicillin for what? For the soldiers who were hurt from the Second World War. Okay, and they were given Nobel Prize in the year 1945 for this. Their their awesome discovery. Yeah. So that is the talk about penicillin. Now let's see about other applications which come. We finished about microbes in industries. Next, let's see what is it. That is microbes in the production of acids. Okay. We know some of the microbes produce acids, enzymes, etc. So let's see one by one which all are the microbes producing which all acids. So the first one that we have to learn is Aspergillus niger, that produces citric acids. Citric acids are found in lemon and other citrus fruits, oranges, lemon, etc. The next one is Acetobacter aceti. This has aceti in it, no? that produces acetic acids. Okay? The next one is lactobacillus. That is what we learned in the beginning of this chapter. Lactobacillus produces lactic acid, and therefore it is also called as lactic acid bacteria. Okay? The next one is the one which we learned is Baker's yeast, Saccharomyces cerevisiae. That produces ethanol. Okay? So that is all to talk about microbes in production of acids. Now let's discuss about what the next category, that is microbes in enzymes. Okay? In the production of enzymes. We said microbes can also produce enzymes, acids, etc. So in production of enzymes. So let's see. The microbes, let's take the case of detergents. Detergents has lipase, which what would the lipase do? That will remove the oil and dirt from the clothes. So the first one is related to lipase in detergents. The second one is about fruit juices that are from the shops. What is that? In the shops, what do you see? The juices are clearer than what is made at home. That is because they use protease and pectin. Okay? They add these two in their juices so that the juices look more clear. So friends, that's all to be discussed in this section of this chapter. I hope you might have understood it and liked it. If you have liked it and understood it, give my video a huge thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel if you are new to it. And share my video with your other friends. So see you in the next part of this chapter. Till then, bye-bye.